Level 1, animist. You arrive on day 1 still believing this is strategy. You learn quickly, but strategy lives in slide titles. You spend your first week formatting boxes. You learn a line that matters more than insight. You learn partners notice spacing before logic. You fly out Monday at 6:10 to a city you didn't choose. You know the airport becomes your real office. You open Excel before the plane reaches cruising altitude. You build a market size and model someone already built last year. You recreate it anyway because this case is different. You sit silently in client meetings taking notes no one reads. You write key takeaways but become someone else's talking points. You learn the engagement manager controls your sleep. You wait for comments at 11:48 p.m. You receive a new structure at 12:16 a.m. You rebuild the debt before the 8 a.m. check-in meeting. You discover the team room reading at the closes. You order dinner with people you barely know. You start measuring weeks and Thursday flights home. You realize Friday isn't really time off. You spend Saturday just cleaning up slides. You watch friends stop inviting you to things. You learn the phrase client ready means perfect. You learn perfect means never finished. You become very fast at turning ambiguity into charts. You become very good at sounding confident with partial data. You learn which associate actually protects analysts. You know which ones rewrite your work for credit. You hear whispers about top bucket and concerns. You realize performance is always being evaluated. You start managing perception as much as output. You push harder as review season approaches. You volunteer for the harder work stream. You stay calm in front of the partner. You speak once in a meeting and it lands well. You hear your name in the performance discussion. You get rated top tier. You're told you're on track. You're told the firm wants to sponsor you. You apply to business school of partner recommendations. You get into Harvard Business School. You receive full scholarship and a guaranteed return offer. You leave thinking you've cracked the system. Level 2, associate. You return as an associate. You're no longer expected to just analyze. You're now expected to lead thinking. You own a work stream end to end. You manage analysts and shape the answers. You translate ambiguity into direction. You are judged on insight, not just effort. You are close to leadership but still replaceable. You're expected to sound certain before you are. You realize this level is all about developing credibility. You return from Harvard believing you understand leadership now. You arrive back at the firm expecting more control. You realize quickly, but you're still staff independent. You're no longer the youngest, but you're not senior either. You go from top of the class at your MBA to unproven again. You introduce yourself as just back from Harvard Business School. You watch partners nod politely but not commit. You wait for your first case longer than expected. You hear staffing is tight this quarter. You start worrying about your return momentum. You finally get placed on the transformation before a Fortune 500 client. You're told you own a work stream. You discover ownership needs pressure without authority. You lead 2 analysts who were top rated before you arrived back. You try an established structure without sounding insecure. You feel them testing whether you're actually strong. You get challenged in your first team meeting. You defend a storyline but isn't what you begged. You feel the engagement manager watching closely. You work later than you did pre-MBA. You're expected to think, not just execute. You're expected to produce answers, not just analysis. You rewrite your storyline 3 times on one night. You present to the client VP on week 2. He interrupts you before slide 3. You realize credibility resets at every engagement. You start anticipating objections before they appear. You become sharper but also more guarded. Your MBA friends post about startup equity and flexibility. You fly to Cleveland again the Monday morning. They talk about building something. You talk about steering committees. They talk about hiring engineers. You talk about stakeholder alignment. You wonder who is actually close to impact. You receive your first recruiter message from private equity. You consider leaving while your value is high. You see your classmates joining growth stage startups. You see others move them into operator roles. You compare equity to bonus. You compare ownership to trajectory. You stay because EM promotion is within reach. You push harder into performance reviews. You manage up more deliberately now. You learn which partner controls your trajectory. You volunteer for the difficult client. You stabilize a failing work stream mid-project. Your team starts trusting your cause. You start anticipating the EM's needs before he speaks. You begin running the day-to-day quietly. You lead problem-solving sessions for the team. You coach analysts through tough feedback. You have the client questions about escalation. You rewrite the storyline the night before the stairco. The partner presents it without changing the word. You notice a shift in how you're introduced. You're now described as basically acting EM. You start managing multiple work streams simultaneously. You review analyst output instead of building it yourself. You feel the job becoming coordination and judgment. You absorb pressure from both sides. You carry the risk without the title. Your review cycle arrives. You hear ready soon from one partner. You hear need one more case from another. You start taking the harder staffing option deliberately. The hours get worse, not better. You run a struggling team across 2 locations. You carry the engagement when the EM is stretched. The project lands well despite the chaos. The partner pulls you aside after the final steering committee. He tells you you're operating at the next level. You hear your name in the promotion discussions. You wait weeks without clarity. You see your peers getting called first. You wonder if you misplayed something. Then, the staffing partner calls you late one evening. You're told you've been promoted to engagement manager. You're congratulated and immediately asked about availability. You have up realizing the real pressure is about to start. Level 3 engagement manager. You are now the engagement manager. You are no longer doing the work. You are now responsible for all of it. You own the team, the client, and the partner expectations. You own the storyline before it exists. You own the outcome before it's clear. You are the buffer in both directions. You absorb pressure from above and below. You are accountable when anything slips. You discover this is the hardest transition yet. You inherit a team on Monday morning. 2 associates, 3 analysts, 1 nervous client lead. You set direction before you fully understand the problem. You pretend to have confidence while building a plane, mid-flight. The partner asks you for a crisp storyline by Tuesday. The client wants answers by Wednesday. The team needs structure immediately. You sleep less in your first week as DM than ever before. You stop building slides entirely. You review slides constantly. You rewrite headlines at midnight. You fix logic at 1:30 a.m. You anticipate partner comments before they arrive. You pre-wire the client before every meeting. You manage expectations more than analysis. You feel the middle pressure immediately. The partner pushes for bigger impact. The client pushes back on feasibility. You sit in between both realities. You promise something to both sides, something slightly different. You hope they converge by Thursday. Your first steering committee goes badly. The client CFO challenges the assumptions. The partner stays silent and watches. The room turns towards you. You defend the logic. You find the light hours earlier. You hold the line and recalibrate live. Afterwards, the partner tells you it was good learning. You realize you own the failure alone. You start managing people for the first time properly. 1 associate is brilliant but difficult. 1 analyst is struggling quietly. You balance performance with morale. You deliver your first tough feedback. You feel the weight of impacting someone's trajectory. You realize leadership is mostly uncomfortable conversations. The hours get worse, not better. You start Monday on client site at 7:30 a.m. You end Thursday nights on calls with a partner. You spend Friday planning the next week. You spend Sunday shaping the storyline. Your calendar fills up before you even wake up. You stop exercising consistently. You cancel personal plans more often. You notice your life shrinking around the job. Your MBA friends are now founders and operators. They talk about ownership and equity. You talk about alignment and stakeholders. They control their roadmap. You manage someone else's urgency. You consider leaving for the first time seriously. A recruiter calls you about a strategy role at a tech company. The compensation is similar with better lifestyle. You almost take the meeting. You hesitate because you're close to the next level. You hear associate partner is within reach. You double down instead of stepping away. You learn promotion is no longer just performance. You need sponsors. You need multiple partners advocating for you. You start choosing cases strategically. You align yourself with partners who are growing. You volunteer for difficult clients they actually care about. You manage their expectations proactively. You notice the politics far more clearly now. Some EMs get visibility, others don't. Some partners push their people harder. You start building alliances deliberately. You send updates before being asked. You pre-wire partners ahead of review meetings. You manage your narrative as carefully as your project. You want a fade in client engagement mid-year. The client is disengaged and the timelines are slipping. You restructure the team overnight. You reset expectations with the partner. You regain control slowly. The engagement lands well despite the poor start. Your name starts circulating more often. Your review cycle approaches. You begin collecting written feedback deliberately. You ask partners for upward reviews before committees. You request stretched staffing to demonstrate range. You push for exposure across multiple senior sponsors. You align your cases with promotion committee members. You refine your leadership narrative in performance documents. You rehearse a promotion case of a senior partner. You hear mixed signals from different partners. One says you'll be ready soon. Another says you need broader exposure. We think of cross-functional transformation projects to prove your range. The scope doubles mid-project. You carry the pressure without escalation. The partner introduces you differently now. You're described as one of our strongest EMs. You hear associate partner conversations starting quietly. Your name goes into the promotion slate. You wait through the committee cycle. You hear nothing for weeks. You see peers getting decisions first. You wonder if you've misread the signals. Then the call comes late evening. You're told the committee approved your promotion. You are now associate partner. You're congratulated and immediately asked about your pipeline. You hang up realizing delivery was only half of the job. You understand the next level. It's all about selling. The level 4 associate partner. You are now associate partner. You are no longer judged only on delivery. You are now judged on revenue. You are expected to bring work in. You are expected to build client relationships. You are expected to justify your resistance economically. You sit between delivery and sales. You own neither fully, but are accountable for both. You realize this is the narrowest bottleneck in the firm. You receive your first target quietly. It's framed as expected contribution. It's several $1 million. You don't yet control clients. You don't yet have full credibility. You still rely on partners for access, but you must build a pipeline based on borrowed relationships. You start traveling without a case. You visit clients just to stay visible. You schedule coffees which feel like auditions. You pitch ideas that aren't fully funded yet. You learn selling is mostly about timing and trust. You learn rejection is constant and quiet. Your first year is scattered wins, swore diagnostics, short strategy pieces, follow-ons owned by someone else. You help sell but don't control. You contribute revenue but don't own it. You fall dependent on partner coverage. You double down on one client. You invest time without guaranteed return. You learn their politics. You build trust below the C-suite. You solve one messy problem well. They call you back directly. The second piece is yours. Your pipeline starts forming. Not big yet, but repeatable. You begin forecasting revenue quarters ahead. You bring in a partner later, not earlier. The relationship starts feeling unilateral. Your full pairs are now split. Some left for industry, some burnt out before this level. A few are still engagement managers. You now meet them on proposals. You set subtle resentment. You know promotion changed with them completely. Your calendar is now external facing. More client calls, more internal selling meetings, more partner alignment discussions, less control over your own time. You're always partially pitching something. Year 2 looks different. 2 clients now call you directly. You build multi-phase roadmaps. Strategy becomes transformation. Transformation becomes multi-year support. Revenue becomes predictable. Your name starts appearing on pipeline reviews. You begin shaping thought leadership. You publish under your own name. Clients reference your perspective. You become associated with a topic. The firm starts route of opportunities to you. The pressure intensifies quietly. You hear climb lines to partner being discussed indirectly. You hear phrases like momentum and trajectory. You understand this is the hardest stretch. Some associate partners stall here permanently. Some leave before ever getting a decision. The review cycle approaches again. You assemble your case deliberately. Revenue you originated. Revenue you expanded. Clients who call you first. Sponsors willing to vouch. You sense the politics more clearly now. Limited partner slots this year. You're being compared against peers globally. You hear rumors about who is ahead. You keep building pipeline while waiting. You lead delivery to protect your reputation. You continue pitching new work simultaneously. The workload peaks beyond anything before. You now look around and notice something. Almost none of your original cohort remains. The journey narrowed steadily. The competition became invisible attrition. The selection process begins formally. Your name goes to the partner committee. Seeing your partners debate readiness. You wait weeks again. Then the meeting finally comes. You're called into a small conference room. 2 senior partners are already waiting. You sense the outcome before they speak. They tell you the committee approved your promotion. You are now partner. You feel the best moment of your career and land quietly. Years of pressure compress into that single sentence. You shake hands trying to stay composed, but you walk out knowing everything has just changed forever. Level 5, partner. You are now partner. You believe you've reached the top. You quickly realized you've just reached the bottom of a brand new structure. You are now an owner, not just a leader. You buy into the partnership. Your conversation shifts completely to equity and performance. Your income becomes less predictable. Your numbers now define your standing. You are now judged against other partners. You are also now the most junior voice in the partner room. You attend your first partner meeting quietly. You listen more than you speak. You realize how much the hierarchy still exists. Senior partners dominate the conversation. They control the biggest clients. They control the practice direction. They control the revenue pools. You're expected to build neatly underneath them. Your early wins aren't powerfully as yours. You sell work into an existing account. A senior partner claims the relationship. The revenue rolls into their practice. You get partial credit. You learn ownership is earned slowly. You keep building your book anyway. You're deepening with 2 anchor clients. You expand from strategy into transformation. You expand into multi-year programs. Your engagements stretch across years. Your revenue becomes more stable. You start forecasting annually, not quarterly. Your calendar now becomes completely external. You're always selling. You're always protecting accounts. You're always watching competitors. You worry about pipeline constantly. A dry quarter now feels existential. Your former associate partner peers scatter again. Some fail to build a book. Some leave for industry roles. Some stall on our partnership. You realize survival here requires momentum. Year 2 changes things for you again. One client starts calling only you. They bypass the senior partner entirely. You become the primary advisor. You lead multi-year work streams. Your revenue attribution increases. Your independence grows slowly. You align yourself for the transformation practice. You specialize in large-scale performance turnarounds. You publish perspectives under that banner. You lead internal knowledge sessions. Your name becomes synonymous with the topic. You start needing proposals across offices. You bring in work outside of geography. You co-sell other partners. You build alliances deliberately. You support others' pursuits, expecting them to have your back. You then influence travels through coalitions. Your numbers grow year by year, from partial credit to shared credit, from shared credit to primary ownership, from primary ownership to multiple anchor clients. Your book becomes highly diversified. Your standing increases. You're asked to co-lead a sub-practice. You manage a pipeline across multiple partners. You help shaping hiring decisions. You've mentored new associate partners. You realize you're now part of the structure. You start thinking about senior partner. The bar is scale, not just success. It requires influence beyond your clients. It requires leadership across the firm. You begin forming alliances internationally. You support senior partner strategic initiatives. You co-author practice perspectives. You share pipeline with influential global leaders. You'll invest in relationships before you need them. You hear succession conversations quietly. A senior partner in your practice is nearing retirement. You position yourself as the natural successor. You increase internal visibility. You lead practice-wide initiatives. You secure sponsorship from multiple regions. Your name starts circulating informally. Partners asking about your trajectory. You gather support one conversation at a time. You understand the decision is connective. The selection process begins quietly. Senior partners discuss candidates behind closed doors. Your sponsors advocate directly. Your numbers are compared globally. Your leadership reputation is debated. You wait through another cycle. You keep building your book while votes form. You maintain alliances carefully. You avoid missteps late in the process. Then the outcome reaches you. The partnership is voted. You've been selected for senior partner. You realize your advancement has always been dependent on your peers. And you step into the next tier, knowing but it's their influence that's put you there. Level 6, senior partner. You are now senior partner. You are no longer chasing the next level. There is no next level. You sit at the top of the firm. You lead the global transformation practice. Thousands of consultants ultimately roll up beneath your structure. Entire industries know your name. You no longer sell projects. You sell confidence. CEO is cool when earnings miss. Boards cool when investors revolt. Governments cool when productivity stalls. You advise only the people who run institutions. You move through a gift of world now. Private dinners with bankers, panels with ministers, closed rooms with sovereign wealth funds, strategy retreats with Fortune 100 boards. Your network has become an asset in itself. For the first time in years, the pressure is different. You still carry expectations, but no insecurity. You have partners beneath you building decks, leading teams, chasing pipelines. They do the grind you once lived. You review, direct, connect, and decide. Your calendar is shorter, but much more valuable. 1 hour of your time can unlock 9 figures of work. One introduction can reshape a client relationship. One opinion can redirect a company. By all intents and purposes, you've made it. More than a decade of flights, politics, reviews, and sacrifices paid off. You became who every incoming analyst imagines. You became who almost no one ever will. You know only a microscopic fraction reached this tier. You know, but the title changes how rooms perceive you. but power often looks calm from the outside. But you also know what it cost. The old friends mostly disappeared. The younger version of you but now feels distant. You climbed all the way to the top, but now you understand why they say it's lonely there.